So there's a lot of talks about artificial intelligence cars and everything, and I think they're a lot farther away than people think they are for a variety of reasons. But one huge one is that there's they really can't foresee new things. Like I've heard stories, and I don't know if they're true or not, that one person just put one in front of a 35 miles per hour, like a line that made it kind of look like an 8, and then it went, the Tesla autopilot went 85. But no person would know that the street is not 85. Or what happens if there's something like a toy problem where it needs to crash the car and it needs to hit someone. There's been mistakes where autopilots have think of plastic bag, try to avoid a plastic bag, instead crashed into a car. A bunch of things like that. However, I think there's a couple ways we can reduce traffic and kind of make a sort of a autopilot, not the best. You'll still with humans, but make humans safer and faster drivers. They need to put less effort into thinking. One idea I have is that instead of having you completely taking over the steering wheel, you still have the steering wheel. However, there'll be a display on your screen, and this display on the screen will show you exactly what you need to do to stay in your lane, and in turn, it'll show you exactly where, with the line, what you need to do to take the turn the most smoothly, and then it will lay on it what's where you're going currently, and you can see if the two things are matching. So, briefly, how this would look like is kind of a look like it'll kind of look like two matching lines. So if this was, I'm going to fill this up with white. If this was your windshield, and I'm going to draw a very messy windshield. Boy, is that messy. This line will be the line that displays on where you're headed. And this is the line you're supposed to take. You can see we're turning. Ways that could be doing it is you could, there's been a lot of work with virtual screens. The simplest way to do it would be a fluorescent or some type of coating that turns higher energy wavelengths into lower ones. And then you could hit it with light of higher energy, and it could glow into that right color, and it doesn't have to be very high resolution, and overlay it over your general screen. Another one is OLEDs, with some LEDs, unlike LEDs, can be made transparent. And then not only can they be made transparent, they can be made flexible. And people have been working on them for screens for TVs and stuff. And these screens, and OLED screens can have the advantage of not only of being super energy efficient for glowing and still being able to see. OLEDs, organic light emitting diodes, and light emitting diodes work by being the opposite of solar cells, and that's why they're so crazy efficient. And organic has a little more control of the colors. The problem with organic ones is they usually don't last as long, but people are getting better at it. Usually more energy efficient though. Another way you could do it with would be with LCD displays, liquid crystal displays, because some of those can actually be made transparent. And briefly, how LCDs works is that you have this sort of a liquid solid. Maybe you can kind of think of it like Jello, but not exactly. That has like all these tiny little things floating around, and when you put it to charge, they all line up, and they only let the light pass. Remember, light is a electromagnetic wave, or a wave like this, they only let the wave pass if it's fluctuating not in one direction, if they're all lined up. Because the wave could be going up and down or side to side, but they only let the light go to if it's up and down or side to side. Putting them in two, if you put one that blocks light lined up now when electricity blocks side to side, and put another one that blocks up to down, they block 100% of light. And you can put different configurations block some of the light. You could combine these displays. There's other fancier displays that you could also make. So there's a ton of possibilities that people have been working on. The nice thing about all these possibilities, though, the kind of cons is the ones that actually glow would probably use more power. The refresh rate is faster. However, they would work better at night or in a variety of conditions, except for you might have to adjust them with some sensors, which are probably not that hard to make. Little cameras that might consume more power for the ambient light. Because if it's very bright outside, it might not appear as well. And while LCDs will be better when it is bright outside, you could figure out solutions. Or ideas can also, you can make, or you could try to use a combination display, which will be more expensive, but some people have worked on, and the technology keeps getting cheaper and cheaper. The other idea I had would be, and the nice thing about this display is you're still in control. So it would help you a lot, and it can also give you notifications. But if you want to do a lane change or if an emergency happens, you can still do it. And it would make people more perfect because people know exactly what lane to stay in and everything, and would make the perfect lanes and turns when everything is going perfect. Another way that I think to make traffic better would be smart traffic lights. Now, people have talked about smart traffic lights that have some data to GPSs and stuff like that they're using to navigate, and maybe this display. Now, people have talked about using that already with AI-driven cars and self-driving cars. But I'm saying this is a GPS or iPhone app that does it. The idea would be then it would know if you had if you had two possible traffic lights to go through. So let's say you had a square, and you could and you want to hit from the bottom corner to the upper corner. So you could either take the first turn, and then take the next turn, or you could go straight and take the turn over here. It would figure out when the traffic lights are changing, so you wait the least longest overall with the traffic lights changing. That would be the simplest way, but we can make it even better. If the traffic lights then see that are smart and know the traffic flow problems, they already know, they can be customized because they can know better the flow of traffic, so they can predict better when to let a bunch of traffic through and when not to, and it's kind of a synergistic effect. To explain the synergistic effect more is if it knows that it can let a bunch of cars at once, every time a traffic light turns on and off, there's a delay in the cars because the cars have to slow down and re-accelerate. And also the slower speeds you can do is if there's bigger time intervals, because when there's bigger on-off more frequently, cars can't reach the maximum speed, but they also have to pay attention more to traffic lights. If the traffic lights know more when cars are doing, and cars can arrive more in big packs due to routing systems, the routing system makes the cars arrive more in big packs, it can let more big chunks through at once. And then those big chunks can move faster, causing less traffic, and less acceleration, deceleration. And acceleration, deceleration also can cause more accidents, making the roads overall more safe. Now, if the cars can send data to the traffic lights way ahead, the traffic lights can start learning traffic patterns and becoming better. Not all cars would have to have this implemented. It'll just be a little bit like watches that can give it a slightly better prediction. The other thing these smart traffic lights could do with the data, now with the data, the other thing they could do with the data is figure out more fancy patterns with how long the yellow light should also be on for slowing down. And they could also try to figure out road conditions better by seeing that if there's unusual traffic patterns, maybe the roads are unsafe or something like that. A bunch of ideas there. Now, if you open up the traffic light system, now how easy would this traffic light system be hacked? Well, in the first system, if the traffic lights are only sending data, are not receiving data, traffic lights themselves won't be that easy to hack at all. There'll also be less of a... Now, also, you could also put a limit to prevent them from totally be hacked, saying that if certain really weird scenarios pop up, don't listen to them. Or no matter what, every 20 seconds, switch the light. So there's never a light that's permanently red or stuck that way, no matter what you do to hack it. Limiting the amount of info so it's only just very basic info also can make it hard to hack because you can't send fancy instructions to hack it. All these things can make it a lot more difficult to hack, but also less worthwhile because the most destruction you can cause is minimum for the traffic lights. Hacking the car is much bigger of a deal than the traffic lights, and for that I do not have a perfect solution except for very good security software and might want to be held on a little bit. But it's a little less if it's not fully autonomous and there's still a human behind the wheel. And which means not only that it's less if the worst case scenario, there's less incentive to do it because you can do less destruction away. It's also be noticed faster so people can correct it faster or anything. I hope you found this talk interesting. Please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Thank you very much. Goodbye.